I'm finally delivering, honey. I'm bringing you a what? A podcast. And y'all already know, I'm not holding anything back.
You kinda like it on my bad side.
What makes my podcast different is that you can bully these other bitches, but you can't bully me. No, you absolutely can, right? Honestly, I'm probably gonna get canceled. But the great thing is, I hope that I garner an audience where canceling isn't really a thing, right? I want you to go on this journey through thought with me, this journey through blackness, this journey through womanhood, this journey through learning with me. It's not that I'm trying to be a bad girl. It's that I'm not afraid to operate in my true, authentic self. Be it my sex appeal, be it my blackness, be it my womanhood, be it my intelligence. I'm not allowing society to tell me how to think or be. 3 words to describe my brand: fierce, funny, and smart as hell. That was 5 words, but it works. In the words of Judge Judy, if I have to choose between being liked and being respected, I'll choose respected every time. When is the last time I backed down? I'm sorry, I don't understand the question. I'm not gonna always have the answer. And honestly, most of the time, we'll probably leave with more questions than answers. But if we can all leave an episode learning a little bit more and laughing while we do it, I think I've conquered a huge feat, honey. Be sure to follow me at LaPortia Speaks TV. That is LaPorsche Speaks TV on all platforms. I'm talking Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And also, stay tuned because I'm coming.
You know I mean what I say, and I always mean what I say. I know you're bad for me.
What's up, everyone? Okay, I'm not going to lie. I kind of woke up on some BS this morning. I'm not gonna lie. I cannot tell you a lie. All right. And my mom was texting me and she was like, "Are you still going live? Are you going live?" And I was like, "Mom, I'm having technical difficulties." Okay. But you know what? We're bringing the energy, we're bringing the facts, we're bringing how we feel about everything. And I'm so excited to have you all with me today. All right. So in true Can't Bully Me fashion, I always like to start off with this phrase: I promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me, MLK's mountaintops to Mar-a-Lago backdrops. Woo, child. Okay, let's get started. Welcome to the Can't Bully Me podcast, the first ever live stream. All right. And I am super excited. I'm streaming out to so many different places. I'm trying to keep up with all of the comments and all of the things, darling. I can't wait to have your audience participation. All right. I want to introduce myself. My name is LaPortia, and I am the creator and host of the Can't Bully Me podcast. All right. And listen, you'll learn through time. I am far from your average journalist or media personality. My content lives at the intersection of need-to-know news, trending entertainment, academia, because your good sister has 3 degrees and counting, and unfiltered jokes. Listen, I'm not here to be politically correct. I'll save those for the political pundits, all right? My goal is to get you to think about things a little differently and leave, and elevate the overall consciousness of things, all right? And if I could just leave you thinking about things a little bit differently, then quite honestly, I feel like I've done my job, darling. Now, I have some amazing people joining me today, right? And I'm super excited. First up, now me and this person, we go way back. When I first started out in TV, I was working at a little station known as WRBL in Columbus, Georgia. Shout out to Kay, my first news director, for giving me a chance. And she also gave, my co-host today, one of my guest co-hosts today, the same chance. And he's went off and done amazing things. Now, he doesn't like talking about himself. So I'm just going to toot some shit. He started as a reporter, right? and then worked his way up. He became an anchor. Then he became a news director. All right. Pew, pew, pew. Then he did some assistant news director. He's done a lot of stuff. He has a great view. He's funny as hell, right? And I'm gonna save that for when he gets on there. He's a really great person. I love the way he thinks. So coming up first is Logan Wilbur. What's up, Logan?
Portia, what's happening?
Okay, so they don't know
love the sound effects.
Listen, they don't know that behind the stage, right? Logan kept changing his shirt because he was like, I don't want to look, like too white. And then he put on the whitest shirt he could find, didn't he, y'all? Like, how about that?
That one was that red, white, and blue looking thing was just too much, too patriotic today.
He was like, this looks a little too patriotic. I don't want to give the wrong impression, darling.
Never thought that when I wear that out on a Friday night.
Okay, next up, now this next person, listen, I feel like she's one of the greatest lesbians of all time. All right. The TikTok master herself. She is my dear friend. She's been all up and throughout the media industry. She always keeps me informed of what's going on. She's one of my trusted advisors. All right. Coming to the stage. D.
It's definitely
the greatest lesbians of all time. I believe that.
It's the hat.
Well, it's definitely the hat. It's definitely the hat. Okay. So listen, I am super excited to have you both here. And to the audience, there are going to be like people joining. So you may hear me repeat things like what the Can't Believe Me podcast is all about. I see a lot of people joining on Instagram. I'm super excited to be in this streaming space. Oh, is that me? Oh, not me watching myself. Okay, 1 second. I was distracting myself for a second. I was like, oh snap. Are we running behind? Oh, so many people. What's up, everyone? What's up? Okay. So I feel like the streaming space is a super fun space. Now, y'all should know I had some technical difficulties this morning. Okay. So I know that everybody was like 11, and I got texts and calls like this is still happening. It's always still happening. It is always still happening. I come from the school of Beyonce. Okay. All those excuses. Just give me a light. All I need is a light. That's all I need. Okay. All this other stuff can go. It's always still happening. But I want to say thank you to my co-host for riding with me this morning. Thank you to my mama for getting on my nerves and letting me know, like, girl, we're waiting. I heard you, Mom. I heard you. And we're here now. And we have a really great lineup planned. We had a great meeting last night. We're giving the energies in. I know a lot of people, y'all, D, Logan, everyone was like, Portia, where have you been? Okay. It's been so long since we've seen an episode. What's been going on? And I want to let y'all know what's been going on in my life. Listen. So when I originally launched this podcast, I was super excited. And I was like, this is going to be great. And then in true fashion, life hit, and it hit hard. I want to give a shout out to my big sister who passed away, right? She was struggling with cancer, and that really it took a lot out of me. The conversation around really what it feels like to grieve. I never understood grief the way I did when she passed away. Right. And then after that, I was on my career was like so many great things happening. Before that. And then my sister passes away. And then boom, the media industry is shook. It is shook. Okay. And so many things begin to happen. And I'm like, all right, layoff. Boom. And then it was like, all right, I was forced into contracting. I had to figure this shit out. And then it was like, all right, another thing. Then, more things ensue. right? The media industry is in an uproar. But you know, if it's one thing about me, I'm a fighter. And I'm not going to stop. I will keep going. I can't help myself. You know, it's literally who I am, right? So I want you to know I am so grateful for everyone that is tuning in, that is on this journey with me, that will stay the entire time. Those of you who'll just be in and out to say that you showed up, shout out to you too. Shout out to everybody. The ecosystem needs it all. All right. Y'all about to go to brunch? I will be joining y'all soon. Don't you even worry about it. But thank you all so much. I am incredibly thankful to my supporters. I'm incredibly thankful to my friends joining me. So definitely bring Logan and D back, because I wanna pry into y'all for a little bit. You know, we got some very, very important things, you know, to talk about, right? But it wouldn't be me if I didn't see. You know, Logan, are you dating somebody yet? Have you found a black girl?
That's a good one.
Are you? Logan is single, everybody. And
since like 2014, 2012, somewhere in there.
Now, damn, I'm trying to sell you, Logan. You can't say that. Like you don't need to say that. Like, how you just gonna?
Hey, they still sell classic cars, right? I mean, people.
Oh, not you to come. Oh, he said he's a ride. Oh, I hear you.
That's not what I'm suggesting. Don't oversell me now.
Okay. All right.
I think many of us just forget to take time for ourselves sometimes, you know, and do the self work. And I wasn't going to be good to anybody during 2012 to 2022. You know, I wouldn't have been what anyone needed during that time anyway. So what would have been the point, you know?
We love like self reflection, all right? Because I almost revealed some things. Let me be quiet. D, let me get up into your business. D, one of the greatest lesbians of all time. Somebody that's just two-player for me. D, what's been going on in your life?
I've just been chilling.
Okay, I told you. So I woke up on BS this morning. So I got some shit to get off my chest. Okay.
So you're trying to blow up D's spot now, huh?
Now, I'm here. Can't bully me, but I can definitely bully y'all. All right. So I'm just trying to figure out why you up here lying to the people.
Who, Logan? I'm chilling. You know, if things occur, if people want to experience me in my glory, then it is what it is.
Oh, let me tell y'all something. First of all, let me pause this real quick. If you're wondering who is doing the producing on the back end, shout out to Kiana, my longtime producer. We started way back in the day together, and she is having the time of her life putting in these things that are going across the screen at the bottom. She is being messy backstage, in true Kiana fashion. She's also my sorority sister. She's award-winning, darling. She's, teaching the kids how to really perform and activate themselves in this media industry. So shout out to her. I may bring her on stage at certain parts, but right now she's in the backstage with her mouth covered saying, do not bring me on stage. Okay, she's laughing. But she said she did her hair just in case, because we all know how I am. We all know how I am. So anyway, so last night, y'all, we were talking, and I said, where my best friend Darren at? Darren, I need you to watch this via Facebook so I can see your comments come in. For those of you who are sending me comments on Instagram, I can see them, but I have to click out of, the screen that I am on and then go into that one. So I'll be kind of going back and forth. So if you're wondering why I'm not responding to your comments, it's because in real time, I'm figuring some things out, right? I'm doing a lot. It's a lot going on behind the scenes. I want to share that with you. Oh, 1 second. Darren said, baby, I'm on
both. Hey, boo.
He said, I'm on both. I was talking to my best friend last night. Okay. And I said, shall I be nice or shall I be mean? Nice mean. Now, to all my pop culture gurus, who said that at an award show recently? Shall I be nice or shall I be mean? And I have not decided yet. But you know, I do have some things to get off my chest. You know, I understand that I don't have hundreds of thousands of followers, right?
Yet.
But never, 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 the biggest mistake you can make is screwing follower count for impact. Okay. And I just want to be very clear. Honey, I'm some of your favorite influencers' favorite influence. Okay. And I want to get that off my chest because if I started to reveal names, about some of these girlies out here who have taken my content and maybe even when I was on the show. Oh, what you say, Dave?
You be sounding real familiar.
Definitely taking the flow. Definitely wait for me to post on my story to see what I think about things. All right. And then take that and they run back to their perspective things. And here's the thing. I'm a thought leader. That's what I'm here to do. I'm a thought leader. I don't mind. A part of being a thought leader, everyone, is that you share your thoughts and you hope that it will influence other people to think about things a little differently. All right. And you would hope that they run and they, they say something to their audience that's worth something because a lot of the stuff that they're talking about right now where I get it. It's like David and Goliath in this thing. All right. And so, I was just talking to my bestie and y'all better hope Ava ain't up. Ava, don't be saying no names in the comments with your message. Don't be saying, no, do not hype her up. Do not, Darren, see if Ava's at. Okay, tell her put on her picture.
It's 8:00 where she's at. She should be definitely up.
Okay, Ava's out there trying to get deals. But anywho, Ava was like, "You better hope I'm not on, because I'm gonna start dropping names." See, what you have to understand is that my besties, they know. People in my circle, they know. I'm gonna tell y'all a quick little story. All right, I won't say the name. I was working on a show. By the way, shout out to my sorority sister, Naima. Because she told me I need to write a book. But I'm so G. You feel what I'm saying? I don't even, I'm not an expose personality, right? That's just not who I am. I don't want to spill the secrets, but I will, things that pertain to me, I will speak my truth about them. I was backstage and I was getting ready. We were having a production meeting of sorts. Bring me full screen, Kiana. Do you see my face, y'all? It was a production meeting. And during this production meeting, I'm scanning around, checking out the vibes, seeing what they're bringing. Being quiet. Then I say, how about we do this and how about we do that? Because a producer is going to produce. All right. A thought leader is going to think because that's what we do. That's what we do. Right. And this person, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to say this, when we get out there and I'm going to take it from this angle because blah, 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 blah. It was some dope. It was some dope shit. Okay. We get out to the set, everyone. We're all ready. And to know me, it's I'm a girl's girl. I really am. I'm a girl's girl, So I'm operating under the pretense, stupidly, that, see that this person over there is kind of not the most likable human being. shall we say. And we're running the takes, sitting up straight, and boom, she stole my whole flow. Drake. She stole my whole flow. And I said, but here's the thing. You're right, Aaron. Don't make me call Portia. I call myself. And I said, self, this is why. This is why. Never underestimate the kid. I was prepared for someone to do that. And baby, that wasn't even my best take. And nailed it down anyway. Bring everybody back. All right. Bring everybody back. Nailed it down anyway, y'all. And y'all know who I'm talking about. That my co-hosts know who I'm talking about. They know. They don't say the name, but they do know. Now, it's been a few different people to do that. So they're probably thinking, well, shit, which one? And I just want to let everybody know, do not tell the people, Kiana, what your messy mouth. And Kiana definitely knows. I just want to let the people know that I'm back. And yeah, this year I plan to be stepping on next. And you know, when you see some of your faves out there doing content and you think to yourself, damn, this kind of has like that LaPortia flow.
We know why.
Imitation is the best form of flattery. Isn't that what they say?
So I'm just, when you see it and you think to yourself, damn, she just said that. Like, all I'm saying is if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, then it's probably a duck. And see, and here's the thing, you know, my best friends, they're always like, expose them. Expose them. But I'm like, nah, I don't want to expose them. I don't want to. And I don't want to because, well, you know what? Let me not speak too soon. I don't want to expose them today. I don't know what I'll feel like tomorrow, the rest of this year.
It's not,
yeah, write down the date and time on this one.
It's not exposure. If you're doing it, then you understand, like, if you was bold enough to do it, you bold enough to get these consequences.
And but that's not who, it's so weird. But it's weird when I'll see people and I'm like, but you was just, and if you take the thought. I'm a journalist though, so give the credit, right? Journalism, Logan, you know this, right, is all about giving credit where credit is due. I don't pretend like a thought is my thought. And first of all, you know, I know that someone is out there saying, well, there's nothing new around the sun. Yes, that is true. There's nothing new around the sun, but it was new to your ass when I said it, and it was new to me when I thought about it. Okay, I didn't know the 16th century philosopher who came up with. Guess what? I ain't know him. Okay, that's not where I got it from. I was thinking by myself, and then I decided to post it on my socials. And then here come you running along from your secret account. You think just because you're not watching from your account, you think I don't know the game? I know y'all have backup accounts. I know y'all have little secret accounts. And I want to put my work out there to the public, and I want you to take it. All I'm saying is, like, you know, just Black woman to Black woman, just like I would give you your credit. Give me my child. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, because then you're trying to figure out why things are running stale. And then maybe because
it's enough out here for everybody.
It is. No. I always like to say, D, there is enough out here for everyone that truly wants it. So I have never in my career, find someone. I dare you to find someone. I've never tried to hold anybody back. I've never put anyone down. I've never not shared and worked with them, been down to work. So it breaks my heart. Well, I'm an Aquarius, so my heart is kind of made of stone. All right. But but you know, it's a little crack in it. Right. When I see people stealing things, and they know how I am, so they know. Which I ain't gonna say much, but y'all don't know. Y'all don't know who I'm gonna turn into. Y'all don't know how I continue to evolve. So I'm just gonna make this statement to everybody. Let's play fair, because in the words of my best friend, you know, I ain't gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that, Darren. Almost got me. Almost got you. Darren was like, oh, just know when the gloves come off, the gloves come off. But I don't fight. I want to be clear, but I don't fight. I'm too pretty to fight. And I'm ready to go to jail. I'm not going to jail. I'm not fighting. I will call the police. You try me, I will call the police. I will call the, don't try me. Okay. So let's get into it. We all know what today is. What today is? Well, for me, it's MLK Day, first and foremost. All right. And, you know, Martin Luther King Jr. was someone that really transformed the world. But I think sometimes, you know, we focus so much on Martin Luther King and not the many hidden figures who stood beside him, right? Not behind him, but beside him. So I found this article on howstuffworks.com written by Vicki Crawford. I heard that she teaches at Morehouse. So shout out to Vicki Crawford, the journalist or the writer that published this article on January 8th, 2024. You know, what's so interesting is that we still have to remind people that Martin Luther King Jr. didn't do it all alone. Now, he was definitely the leader, right? But he did not do it by himself. So one of the things that I really wanted to do was just highlight some people that really, you know, we should also take this time and this day to honor them. First up is Bayard Rustin. Now, anyone who recently saw the movie Rustin, then you know that he was someone that literally the March on Washington, that's all him. That's him. That was him. And you know, one thing I love about Rustin is that he was a Black gay man, right? And he brought that energy. And I loved him because I always try to encourage people to dream big. Dream big. All right? Because great things happen when you dream big. Now, my therapist also says to me, make sure you execute in small steps. Right. And that's one thing that I think that all of us have to learn to work on. We dream big, but we execute in small steps. And Rustin is one of my favorite figures. I do not want to call him a hidden figure anymore. He's one of my favorite figures because he dreamed big and he had to overcome so much. He was getting it from all sides, you know, Black gay man altogether. And you know, he ended up, his longtime partner was a white man, Logan.
Shout out to white men who support others.
His longtime partner. So, but Bayard did so much for the community. So huge shout out to him. All right. Of course, we have to shout out Coretta. You know, people don't know that long before she married MLK, she was already doing the damn thing. Right. She was already doing the damn thing. Now we have another segment. We have a guest behind the scenes, right, backstage. So I want to make sure I get through this part so we can have time before the actual inauguration to talk to him. All right. Then we have Dorothy Height, who is the president of the National Council of Negro Women. She was often the lone woman at the table of leaders representing national organizations. So when we say seat at the table, that was the good sis Dorothy. We have Anna Arnold Hedgeman, who will also served on the planning committee. And sometimes when we think about planning and like women in these administrative roles, we downplay it. But no. Somebody has to be organized. Somebody, there's the person that dreamed, and then there's the person that helps you execute that dream. And that was definitely these women. So we definitely want to give a great shout out to them, you know. And all right, y'all. Are y'all ready? We're about to get
Well, real
into
quick,
fact.
one person I think we can't forget,
Oh.
being what today is, looking at how we got here, who did a lot of work with Dr. King, would be John Lewis. I mean, the Voting Rights Act, Equal Housing Act, Civil Rights Act, a lot of things that MLK worked on. You know, you can find a ton of pictures where John Lewis is right behind him, right beside him, and you know, he kept carrying on the work of Dr. King as a senator and representing the country. So don't want to forget him.
I love that. Do you have anyone?
I mean, if we're gonna talk about it, you know, our founders, all 7 of our founders were created. They created our organization based on safety. So, you know, KKK was down the street when we were started, and we were guarded by the noobs. So, I mean, shout out to them and shout out to us, because, you know, not being founded on an HBCU is a hard thing. So
It is. You know, and people don't talk about that. I always say, listen, my founders were 7 doors down from the headquarters of the KKK. That's some real energy to have to stand up and really, you know, fight against that and like be fearless, because, you know, the atrocious things that happened back then, that we're seeing rehappen and repeat today, you know, is quite something. So thank you for bringing that up, D. Our founders. And if you're like, what founders? Who are y'all? If you're new here, Kiana got that picture up fast. If you're wondering, we are members of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. However, this live stream is not affiliated with Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated anyway, just in case I say some things. But we are members of SG Rho, right? D is a member of SG Rho. Kiana, the producer that's writing all of these shady things and these factual things behind the scenes, is also a member of Sigma Gamma Rho. So my sorority sisters definitely showed up and showed out. So if you're one of my sorority sisters, please drop blue and gold hearts in the comments if you're watching. All right. Shout out, shout out, shout out, shout out, shout out. Oh, and I see it. Tam, I see it. Shout out to all my sorors. You know what? But I don't want to just limit it, because listen, I'm supporters in every organization. So shout out to the AKAs that's watching. All right. Shout out to the Deltas that's watching and supporting. All right. Shout out to the Zetas that's watching and supporting. All right. Shout out. Oh, I got to go deep in my Greek bag. Okay. Shout out to the Alphas that's watching and supporting. All right. Shout out to the noobs, the indie that's watching and supporting. Shout out to my road dogs. My road dog. I gotta stop. I gotta put some extra sauce on this one. All right. Shout out to the Qs, the Omega men that are watching and supporting. Shout out, let out a little bark. All right. And if you're at work or watching from home, shout out to y'all. Because let me tell you something.
We got bark love.
They stay riding for me. You know, they're always supporting, they're always showing up. So shout out to one of my favorite Omega men. I won't put you on blast, but I'll just say shout out to one of my favorite Omega men. Oh, I think I just made some people mad. Yikes. All right. Breathe. I'll also say now this next group, they listen, I like it's hand in hand. Shout out to the Sigmas that's watching and supporting. All right. Shout out, because one thing about it, it's like, okay, the Qs definitely are like my let's be free thinkers and pow, 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 pow. And then when I go to the Sigmas, we're like, let's execute. Little fun fact. You know, Sigma Gamma Rho, Phi Beta Sigma. Sigma means the sum of all in mathematical terms. Okay. So shout out to all of you. And then, of course, shout out to the IOTAs that's watching and supporting. Shout out to y'all. All right. So I think I got everybody. Did I forget somebody, D?
No, you got everybody. I mean, everybody Founders Day was just like last week. So I think we covered everybody.
Damn, I wanted to drink some water, but I'm out of water. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, this next segment that we're doing, everyone, is called Facts versus Feelings. Now, facts versus feelings is something that I've done for a long time. I saw me, Kiana. Y'all. Ooh, Kiana. Happy Founders Day. Happy belated Founders Day to everyone. I'm going to just do it to everyone. Okay. So this next segment is called Facts versus Feelings. Now, facts versus feelings is something that I've done for a long time because I think it's important to always separate the facts of a story from our feelings about the story, right? At the end of the day, I'm a journalist and I'm a damn good one, right? To be exact. And one of the things that I see that's wrong with our society right now is that we talk about our opinions as facts. And I'm not with that at all. You're right. You're allowed to feel however you want about the facts, but you shouldn't change the facts to fit your feelings. All right. And for all of my viewers, that's something that, you know, I plan to make sure I intentionally separate right throughout our conversation today. And I thank my audience for trusting me with that. And, you know, I almost said something shady, but I stopped. On this program, right, we separate facts from feelings, right? So first on the agenda, facts. People are performing at the presidential inauguration, all right? That is the fact. Now, I have a special guest, right, joining us to talk about this today in a panel roundabout. He is a highly accomplished journalist, author, and media commentator with a significant presence in both the cultural and news realms. All right. His latest work, Trap History, Atlanta Culture, and the Global Impact of Trap Music, is a groundbreaking exploration of trap music's evolution and its profound influence on global culture. In his media career, he has appeared on major news outlets such as ABC, NBC, BBC, CBC, all the C's, right? NPR, and more. His experience extends far beyond traditional journalism, all right? He's had exclusive and in-depth interviews with figures like Serena Williams, LeBron James, Denzel Washington, Mike Tyson, heavy hitters, and Tyler Perry, and more. All right. So I want to bring to the stage A.R. Shaw. What's up, A.R. Shaw?
What's up going on? What's going on? Happy MLK Day to you.
Oh, we love that. We look to us.
To us. Yeah, this is for us.
Yes, this is definitely for us. Now, you know, I hit you up. I want to shout out one of my really, really great friends, Sheba Russell.
Yes,
she was like, you have to talk to him. He is really dope. He's really great. And I told you, and you were like, I'm down to do this. So thank you so much. Right. First, I kind of want us to start off with the facts. Everyone is talking about the performers, okay, at Trump's inauguration. And there's a list of them. There's a list of them.
Yep.
Right. Tell me who is performing at the inauguration or who has performed, because the inauguration has been this week-long thing.
Yeah. So for everyone who's followed the inauguration for years, it's like several balls. They call them inauguration balls that take place throughout the weekend. And so there's been multiple balls. On Friday, there was a crypto ball. And at the crypto ball, you had Snoop, Rick Ross, Soulja Boy perform. And there's going to be a few more balls tonight, which Nelly is going to perform at 1. I think Rod Wave is going to perform at 1. So there's several balls that's taking place where a lot of individuals from the hip hop and rap community have decided to participate. And we've seen a lot of backlash following their participation.
I have to know. All right. You gave us the facts. How do you feel about what you just said?
Well, it's shocking in a sense, right? So I'm gonna do it in two parts, right? I think initially what's shocking about it is I think it's someone who's loved hip hop, and followed hip hop for years. I consider myself a hip hop historian. I think hip hop is almost considered like a new generation, a new form of what Malcolm and Martin Luther King did in the 60s in terms of the civil rights and speaking out, being a voice for the voiceless, right? And so you saw that hip hop kind of took that space in the 80s and 90s. People like KRS-One, Chuck D, Tupac, they were very vocal about what was happening in these communities. And so I think a lot of times you see people in the community, they look to hip hop artists to kind of stand with people who the voice of the voiceless, right? And of course, when you see someone like a Snoop, who was arguably the most famous rapper of all time, you got to understand, like, grandmothers and children, they know who Snoop is. So he's famous beyond just the average artist. And so I think that was shocking for a lot of people. Rick Ross, Nelly, Rod Wave, they haven't really been political, so I don't think we thought that they would. They haven't really stood on anything when it comes to politics, but they kept getting backlash as well. Snoop is getting the most because in 2017 there was a video of him pretty much blasting every black artist who would consider performing for Donald Trump. I'm not sure if you have that clip, but he basically just goes off on them, saying that if you perform at the inauguration for Trump, basically saying that you're a sellout. And now things, years later, okay, we have the clip.
Okay, we have the clip. All right. So let's listen to this clip.
Which one of you jigaboo ass niggas gonna be the first one to do it? I'm waiting. I'm gonna roast the fuck out one of you Uncle Tom ass niggas for doing it. Which one of you niggas gonna do it first? I'll be the one that performs for himself.
About noon, just thought that I had to be in Compton soon. Before the day began, before my heart started bitching about my
All right, Kiana. Okay, so we have the clip there, and isn't it ironic? AR, like, isn't it ironic? One of our greatest legends who said that if you do this, you're a jigaboo, Uncle Tom. And now we see him. He was the first. Was he the first? Technically? Of the inauguration roundup this weekend?
Well, the crypto ball was on Friday. That was like the first kind of the kickoff. And just to kind of give a backstory of the crypto ball launch, Trump launched his own meme coin. So he launched his own cryptocurrency, and Melania a day later launched her own cryptocurrency. A lot of people are saying that this is a big grift, that that Trump is going to pretty much do whatever he can in terms of financially benefiting from his second term in office. So there was just a little backstory about what that actually.
Uh-oh. Now wait 1 second, AR. I don't know if it's just me, but I think your audio went out. So Kiana, in the private chat, let me know if you also couldn't hear his audio, but I think his audio went out. So I can't hear you right now. So we're going to, no, I can't hear you now. Okay. So what we're going to do is let him get back on, right? Because he lost him too. So Logan, bring Logan to the front. Let me see if we can hear you now. Say something, AR.
Hey, can you hear me?
Oh, now we can. All right. So
Okay.
Since we only have a few minutes left here before the ball, I want to, like, Logan, what are your thoughts around, Snoop performing at the crypto ball? Because I do have thoughts, and it may not be what everyone thinks, honestly.
Man, I mean, it's hard to not kind of laugh at Snoop and hold him somewhat accountable to what he said in 2017, right? So, like, I mean, he's playing himself there. But at the same time, like, he's not alone in this. I mean, look at what every single social media person is doing. The Washington Post decided to step back and not not give a direction with the editorial board, but prior to the election. I mean, everyone is sort of shifting gears on how they're approaching this right now. Facebook just changed how they're going to do all of their operations when it comes to fact checking, right? Like, no one wants to get in the way of Donald Trump right now. It hurts a little bit because Snoop was like the man at the Olympics. I mean, he was all over. I mean, he was NBC's like, this guy is representing America, you know? So for him now to represent America this way, it kind of feels like he's turned his back on sort of a lot of the things that got him to where he is, you know, the communities that got him to where he is. But at the same time, you know, you're seeing it from the top down. Like, everyone's trying to get theirs right now. Everyone's saying, hey, the power of the dollar is what I'm after, and I need to get mine, because God only knows what it's going to look like years from now. I might not have another opportunity. So on that aspect, you know, I'd love to get mine someday too. But would I do it through Donald Trump? Probably not. But
And
make your money while you can, I guess.
Bring D forward. D, what are your thoughts on Snoop Dogg, you know, performing at this inauguration?
I think that money is the root of all evil. I think that when people get money, they show you their true colors. Am I surprised? No. Am I surprised about Soulja Boy? No. Am I surprised about Rick? No. Am I surprised about Snoop? Hell yes. Why? Because I am a 90s kid. I grew up listening to Snoop basically say F y'all, F the system, and then here we are. And you can give me, it was for crypto, you can give me, you know, all the nuances, but it still doesn't change the fact that you were in an environment that honestly doesn't want you there. Like, if we don't talk about it. They don't want you there. They paid you. They bought you. That's what it came down to. They bought you and you let them. So that's where I'm at with it. You know, if you can be bought and your morals can be corrupted, or maybe you just don't have any and you don't care, that's cool. But, you know, don't pop shit. And then 7 years later, you're literally the person you were popping shit about.
You know, but I think that life is funny that way. Now, my personal thoughts on this, you know, AR, I love that you pointed out that this was the crypto ball. All right. How I feel about this is that, you know, sometimes the only color out there is green for a lot of people. I think that once you hit a certain level, it becomes less about the culture to a lot of people and more about the money. I think that Snoop Dogg for years have told us straight up that it's about the money for him. I mean, he's literally said this for years, right? I think that you can be, sometimes we idolize people too much, right? And just because you're great at your craft doesn't make you the greatest man, right? It does not make you a moral man. Sometimes when we like people, we begin to say, oh, like we like them. They're just, because we like them, we automatically put them on this pedestal of great morality, right? Like, you're just a very moral man. And I think that Snoop Dogg has said throughout his time, right, that he cared about the dollar. Snoop Dogg is playing around in Martha Stewart money now. Okay, he said, "Listen, I've given you a lot." All right, did y'all see how I bleep myself out? I've given you a lot, and not to mention, now there was some conspiracy theories regarding Snoop back in the day, but I won't get into those. I know you know what I'm talking about. There was some conspiracy theories about Snoop maybe not always being a stand-up person, which is why I think that we have to, as a society, just because we like someone and just because we like their music, we got to stop associating that with, you know, like, oh, they're just so stand-up. No, a lot of your faves are evil and they're not great people, period. Like, but they have great talent. They're okay people, but they're not as great just because you bop to the music. Listen, I was listening to Drop It Like It's Hot too. I'm personally not surprised. And to be quite frank with you, I'm not mad at Snoop, right? Because I have learned to deal with people in the way in which they show themselves to be. So I'm not mad, right? I think if anything, he should feel embarrassed, right? He probably don't, because whatever he got paid was clearly worth it for him, right? So he definitely looked at the cost and said, you know what? This is worth it for me. Okay. So I'm just kind of like, whatever. Whatever. That's my honest thoughts. Now, I know most people would say, Portia, I expected you to read them down for what? If it would, I wouldn't be being authentic, right? And I don't do that. So I'm like, I'm just, did we expect anything differently from Snoop? I didn't. Did you all, AR, did you expect something differently from Snoop?
I mean, you got to understand. You got to understand that. So I think for Snoop, yes, because what Snoop has represented. I think Snoop has stood on. He's stood on principle in the past, right? And he comes from a place that's principle. You think about West Coast, Long Beach, California, and you got to think about this. Just last week, Trump went off on California for the LA fires and things of that. What was happening with the fires, and it's just not a good look for him. In terms of me, like you're right. Like if you look at the background of celebrities, artists, a lot of them have messed up past. I mean, Bobby Womack is one of my favorite musicians of all time. But if you read Bobby Womack's bio and some of the things that he did, it's horrible, right? But I love the music, so we have to separate the two. I think the biggest issue with Snoop is that he's spoken out against Trump in the past, right? And so if you've spoken out against him in the past, why would you change? And as you said, like, people are laughing at him. Elon posted that same clip that we played yesterday, and it is basically mocking Snoop. And so it's like, for someone like Snoop who can pretty much has cachet in every sector of society, I don't think it was wise for him to barter his culture and barter his credibility to side with Trump. It just wasn't worth it, because Snoop can get whatever money that he got from that crypto ball, he can get it in other places. Now, not so I don't think Soulja Boy can, but I know that Snoop can. So for someone like Snoop who has that prestige, I don't think it was wise for him, because at the end of the day, you're only as powerful as the base that supports you. And if the base stops supporting you, the corporation's not going to support you as well, because they're like, oh, well, no one is following Snoop anymore. That train is passed. So it's like the corporations are looking too. Are you hot to the culture? Does the people really believe in you? And when it comes to hip hop, you're only as valuable as your credibility. And once you lose your credibility in hip hop, it's a wrap.
Now,
you seeing what happened with Drake.
Yeah, I was going to say, I do agree with that. I think you bring up a really excellent point there. I think that my counter would be, how old is Snoop now? Do we know how old Snoop is now?
He has to be like
50 something.
He's in his mid-50s.
So
He's 53.
I think he's 53. All right. So I think that before he said yes to this, right? One, I want to know, does he got are there any background cases? He trying to get somebody out of jail? Because we all know whenever we start looking at rappers who are siding with Trump, it's usually right because somebody got some back things going on. And I feel like we as a culture are like, well, how many people want to go to prison if you can, get yourself out? So I'm like, is he trying to work on some deals for some folks in the back or something like that? That's where my mind went. Then it went to, what has Martha been cooking for him, right? Over there in that studio, right? Must have been cooking something. I'm like, what's she been putting in the food? And then I went to, he's older now, right? So does he even really truly associate himself with hip hop the way we do? Right.
Yeah, this ain't doggy style Snoop anymore. This is
this isn't I've been kicking in Long Beach, at a car show smoking a blunt. Like that's not that Snoop. Now, we still get blunt smoking Snoop, but we know that that's not who we're getting now. Point blank period. And I don't know if it's the age. I don't know if it's the money. I don't know what it is. But if you had told me 10 years ago that Snoop would be performing at Trump's inauguration, one, I would look at you sideways like, what are you talking about? Trump who? But two, I would also be like, Snoop? Like, Snoop?
Yeah.
Like
yeah, it's sad.
Dude with the bandana? Like, who was like, you know what? We're not going to talk about his old music videos, but no,
you know, but I think the next point I would bring up, you guys, is that, you know, I wonder for him, knowing the way that some people voted this year, in the Black community specifically, AR, I would love to hear from you on this. Do you feel that a lot of the artists, right, are the Nellies, the not Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy is just, listen,
Yeah.
I heard that clip yesterday and it gave me a headache. Y'all,
Yeah.
I literally got you can ask them. Kiana played that clip in the background and I literally got a head. I had to take 2 leaves because he was yelling.
Jigaboo ass niggas.
And I was just like, oh my God. Okay. Right. You shady, Kiana. That was great. Did y'all hear that in the background? That's producing.
I did. That was perfect.
That was producing on the spot. Okay.
I like it.
Okay. And so, you know, it gave me a headache, Agar. But I'm asking myself, knowing that, you know, I don't want to use words like a significant portion, right? But more Black people voted for Trump this year than expected. I'm not going to say significant because significant is incorrect. It was not a significant number. All right. That's wrong. That's misrepresenting the data. But more people than expected voted for Trump. Do you think that some of these rappers or some of these artists are like, well, shoot, everybody ain't, you know, against him, so let me get this money?
Well, when you talk about capitalism, a lot of morals go out the door when capitalism becomes at the forefront, and I think that's the issue. I think I'm actually writing a piece now, an article on you know, what would Tupac say? What would Tupac do if he was in this moment right now and saw that Snoop, his partner, his death row partner, was performing at the inauguration for Trump? How would Tupac react? Tupac was totally against capitalism, in a sense where he, you know, there's a clip where he's basically blasting Trump, and this is 1992, where he's blasting Trump for his capitalism. And so, you know, in a sense, regardless of if, some of the artists, they want to side with whatever is in power, we understand that. But at the same time, like I said, you can't forget your base as an artist, as someone who's in this sphere. It's no coming back, because you got to understand, like, corporations, when they look to pick and choose individuals who they want to promote their products or whatever, they only want to promote to the people who can touch the culture, because they can't touch the culture. Now, if the culture don't really respect you no more, the corporations are like, oh, well, that guy is over. Who's the next person we can get up? You know, so it's like, you have to understand that you have to. So for someone like Snoop, who's been in this game for so long, he has to know that choosing capitalism at this point in time isn't wise. Next week, Snoop is going to be at the Super Bowl. So I'm saying, like, he's going to make these. He has these opportunities to get in front of a large audience, and so it doesn't really make sense to side with someone like Trump at this point, because from an economic standpoint, he doesn't need it, and even from a cultural standpoint, you don't want to get to the point where people no longer believe in you and people don't want to hear what you have to say. We've seen what's happened to Drake. Like, Drake is over. Like, it's over. Like, Drake. So it's like, once you lose your credibility, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. You can't lose your credibility.
Snoop pulled in almost $9 million for the Olympics.
Right.
You didn't need the money.
Right.
And if you say that the money was that good, we have to talk about your representation. We have to talk about who's running your business, because what?
You know, didn't 50 Cent, they offered for 50 Cent to come perform, and 50 Cent said it's not worth it, you know. And if I'm not mistaken, I want to say 50 Cent said they offered him like $3 million. So I have to assume that what Snoop got, I mean, I'm just going to throw out a number out here. This is not fact check, guys. I want to be clear about that. It can't be more than 10. If they were offering,
it can't be.
I just don't see it, you know.
And let's also just, Chrisette Michelle only got $35K to perform. $35K.
Well, we know Snoop ain't get $35K. Snoop don't even get a hit. Snoop weed costs $35K. So we know that didn't happen. But if we put a price range from $35K to $3 million plus a little bit, I'm going to assume that, you know, definitely got millions. And I wonder if he worked out. Now, hear me out, right? Knowing what he said back in the day, and knowing that, correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't check Snoop's pages, but I don't think he really promoted this either. So I wonder if it was like Trump is not supposed to be there. So, but we wanted you to come perform at this ball. Trump is not going to attend this ball, but it's a part of these events for the week. What do y'all give to that? Are y'all like, well, technically Trump wasn't there, so I'm gonna let it slide. AR is like, no. D is like, no. Logan,
because you're literally putting yourself in an environment that one don't want you there. Two, they're literally. I bet you they went back and was like, yeah, we bought him. We tossed him a couple dollars and he came. Like, it's that type of shit. Like, think about the back end of it. They don't care about Snoop. They wanted the gangsterest person they could find that was gonna do it. Because let's be clear, Rick ain't it. Ross ain't it. He's not. And we know he's a sellout. And so is Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy ain't had a hit since Crank That. Like,
well, no, he had the she make it clap, clap, clap. She make it clap, clap, clap. It popped up for a little summer. But we, now I think that we are holding Snoop Dogg more accountable than the others. Now,
but he's also been the one that spoke out about it.
Yeah, exactly. They're the ones like Soulja Boy. We expect this foolery from him. Rick Ross has already said he gonna go where the money at, and we know he the ops. So, Snoop is not someone. To AR's point, Snoop is not a person that I would have looked at and been like, yeah, he down for to be chilling with the MAGAs. Like, that's not where we're at.
And maybe I think this is a me thing, and I acknowledge that before I say it. I just don't give. I give Snoop credit for his hip hop legacy, but I don't look at him as somebody where I'm like, I expect more from you, and maybe we can all say that's sad. Okay, I don't look at him as I expect more from just because of things that I heard, and I'm so happy you brought up Tupac. AR, because let me tell you something. Tupac is my favorite. I love Tupac. I know my mom is like, oh Lord, AR and I brought up Tupac. She about to go on a rant. Logan and I, we were reading one of his poems last night that we put in the doc. We have books. We the rose that grew from the concrete. She is me.
Everybody know that.
Right? And he's one of my favorites, and I love that clip that you're talking about when he was like, nobody should have this much money. With people dying on this street, no one should have this much money. And yet somehow that's America, right? America, it's all about capitalism, right? And so I'm not surprised by any of that. But Kiana, if we can pull up, I do want to play this Nelly clip. We're not going to hold you too long, AR, because I know you have to go. So thank you for bearing with us. If you can't just play this Nelly clip, because Lord, I can't listen to the Soulja Boy one. I can't do that right now because I don't want to have a headache. Look, you can't even hear it, and yet you just know
it's some bull.
You just know.
Is this where he was telling people he just isn't really educated on a lot of things and all that nonsense?
No, this is the clip where he was like, he's honored because it's the president of the United States, and ain't no other presidents ever asked him to do anything. And my thing is, you haven't had a hit since It's Hot in Here. What do you want?
Bill Gates down on the front page.
All right.
TikTok is black. Let me come to the front stage.
I am honored to be performing for the office for the president of the United States. Regardless, ain't another president asked me to perform. Ain't nobody called Nelly. I would have performed.
Well, ain't nobody. Well, nobody ever asked you to come to a Klan rally either. But,
what you mean? Why would I go to a Klan rally? I don't live in a Klan country.
Well, this is a Klan country.
No, this ain't no Klan.
No, this is a Klan country, man.
Where is it?
This is a Klan country.
Where it is?
He said what it said, like we can't pull up real pictures and videos of actual Klansmen at Trump rallies. And this ain't from 2020 either. They say 2024. Endorsed by the what? You see it right. And the irony of Nelly saying that is that it's a high likeliness of when he was performing at their little inauguration party, he was saying country grandma and underly mama EI, but Confederate flag toting Klansmen supporters that said Donald Trump is our man. So you gotta ask yourself, Why does your politics align with the Confederate flag toting people? To the people in the back, before I play this next clip on my mama, you are able to have wonderful criticisms of the left and the Democrats and the Biden without justifying going over there to that side. Listen, you can have amazing critiques for the Democratic plantation, but it don't justify going to the Republican one. Roll the clip now.
Okay, I get it. He did say, if you don't vote for me, you're not black, right? Oh no, that wasn't him. That wasn't him. That wasn't him. Hold on. I'm trying to think. Hold on. He did create
I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
he did create the crime bill in the 90s, which said that if you get caught with 5 grams of crack, you do a mandatory 5 years. That had mass incarceration. I think even the Vice President Kamala spoke on that part, that said that the crime bill played a huge part. He didn't do that. Let me see. What did he do? I'm trying to think. The white supremacy. Hold on. I'm gonna get to it. Okay. He did not rent to black people. What was it, in the 70s or the 80s? Is that what they said? And like, oh, okay, is he written to him now? So he's a white supremacist, and nobody's allowed to change, right?
The question becomes, how did Donald Trump change for the good? If anything, he's gotten progressively worse. You see what I'm saying? I know you had your little lyric and everybody in the black community was talking about having Donald Trump money, but since we started talking about him in the 90s, you see what I'm saying? How's he gotten better? He started clicking up with Yahtzees and white supremacists and Confederate flag toters. You see what I'm saying? He's passed all type of bills that make it working class people can't afford to pay their bills, but the billionaires getting out record high profits. What has he done that has made him change? It's crazy that Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. It's also crazy that Donald Trump said he wants to attack the enemy within, even going so far as saying he wants to sick the American military on them. And you know who the enemy within? Oh, a whole bunch of black folks like your mom and your daddy and then because of them that voted for Barack Obama or that voted for Kamala Harris. So you ain't even got to get lost in the sauce of the bipartisanship politics. But you know what he said he wanted to do? He wanted to fund education, and he wants to literally raise the price of insulin for your grandma and them. Is that good? Yeah, the 1990 crime bills is bad. We also know that Republicans weren't just as bad as Joe Biden them did, which is the reason why we got to have structural analysis to not be lost in the sauce of bipartisanship shit. So let's say he did the crime bill, right? But these folks renamed affordable health care the Obamacare because he knew that his constituents would not be down for black folks getting health care, and you perform for them. You see what I'm saying? Hey, it's crazy. On my mama, you ain't got a cake from the Republicans because you know the Democrats are full of shit.
All right, pause that for me, Kiana.
Right?
Bring us back full screen. So, AR, just in closing, I would love to hear your closing thoughts on this entire segment.
Yeah. I actually saw it live. It was Willie D's podcast. Willie D from the Ghetto Boys. He has a podcast. And Nelly was he basically broke his silence on that podcast, and I watched it in real time. And I was really sad because it was like I was like, I would rather him go out like Soulja Boy than to try to explain himself in a way that is just so ridiculous. It broke my heart because I as a journalist, I've interviewed Nelly multiple times. He's really a cool guy. So he's a cool guy. And so it's just like, it was like, him trying to explain himself. He's trying to explain himself away. It was really sad because he couldn't really articulate why he was doing it. And it was like every point that he was trying to make, it was like he was digging himself a deeper hole, right? And it's just sad that he just didn't have the nuances to really put out why he did it. And I would like I said, I would rather for him to just say, look, it was for the money. If everybody else who don't agree with it, I would rather him go that route than to try to explain himself and not articulate himself in the right manner. And that was the issue, is that he didn't really talk about the issues that Trump has now. He didn't talk about the Central Park 5. He didn't talk about the Supreme Court justices who he put in place that got rid of affirmative action that's going to impact black students across the nation. Now they're taking the elimination of affirmative action, and corporate sector they took a hold of it, and now they're trying to eliminate DEI initiatives across the board in corporations. We've seen it done in Walmart, Facebook, McDonald's, and all of this stems from affirmative action, stems from the justices that Donald Trump put in place. And so we have to have the nuances. If you're gonna explain yourself, please study. Please understand the background of what you're doing before you go out there and speak. I would rather, like I said, I would rather him to say F all of y'all and be like Soldier Boy than to try to explain himself and prove that he just doesn't understand what the hell he's talking about.
You know, I say something very similar, AR Shaw, because but then I think to myself, damn, would I have a job if everyone was smart? You know?
Oh God.
And that's, I know that's a selfish thought. But then I'm like, damn, Nelly, like why would you say some dumb shit like that? And then I think to myself, I stop, I take a deep breath, and I'm like, oh, because you're not smart. All right. And that's why people like you and I and Logan and D exist, to really break this shit down. So thank you so much, AR Shaw, for joining us. I appreciate you for joining this live stream and being a part of my first ever Can't Bully Me podcast live stream. And I cannot wait to have you back.
Thanks so much, and happy MLK Day to you all.
All right. Bye.
All right, bye.
All right, y'all. So what I want to do now, because in real time I see that they're against what he is getting sworn in. So I put it in the private chat, Kiana, so we can watch the second link, not the first. And we're going to go back to when he starts talking so we can all listen together. Those of you that are watching, I know a lot of people are like, Portia, this is where I check out. I do not want to hear anything that Trump has to say. Before we do that, I ask, no, please listen. I'm asking you to listen because you don't know what battles are coming, all right? If you don't know what's out there, you don't, right? So you have to pay attention, and you should definitely pay attention to a man who we underestimated, who a lot of people underestimated, you know, the first time, and then came back again, right? You should pay attention to what he has to say, because how do you know what's happening? And let me be very clear. Minority communities, we all know we're the first to be impacted. We're the first to be impacted. Women, we're the first to be impacted. Black people, brown people, we are the first to be impacted. So it's extremely important that you listen, right? And for me, y'all are about to see on my face, I'm about to listen in journalism mode. Journalism mode for me, guys, is when I cut off like my feelings about things and I just listen and I analyze what he has to say, or what whoever I'm speaking with, what they have to say, and I really pay attention. All right. It's not about what I want to hear in this moment. So I ask everybody right now to release with me. It's not about what we want to hear. It's about what's being said. And then we'll talk about it in real time. All right. Also, shout out to the AP. We are viewing their live stream. So all credit to them for this live stream.
Thank you very much, everybody. Well, thank you very, very much. Vice President Vance, Speaker Johnson, Senator Thune, Chief Justice Roberts, Justices of the United States Supreme Court, President Clinton, President Bush, President Obama, President Biden, Vice President Harris, and my fellow citizens. The golden age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first. Our sovereignty will be reclaimed. Our safety will be restored. The scales of justice will be rebalanced. the vicious, violent, and unfair weaponization of the Justice Department and our government will end. And our top priority will be to create a nation that is proud, prosperous, and free. America will soon be greater, stronger, and far more exceptional than ever before. I return to the presidency confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success. A tide of change is sweeping the country, sunlight is pouring over the entire world, and America has the chance to seize this opportunity like never before. But first, we must be honest about the challenges we face. While they are plentiful, they will be annihilated by this great momentum that the world is now witnessing in the United States of America. As we gather today, our government confronts a crisis of trust. For many years, a radical and corrupt establishment has extracted power and wealth from our citizens while the pillars of our society lay broken and seemingly in complete disrepair. We now have a government that cannot manage even a simple crisis at home, while at the same time stumbling into a continuing catalog of catastrophic events abroad. It fails to protect our magnificent, law-abiding American citizens, but provides sanctuary and protection for dangerous criminals, many from prisons and mental institutions that have illegally entered our country from all over the world. We have a government that has given unlimited funding to the defense of foreign borders, but refuses to defend American borders or, more importantly, its own people. Our country can no longer deliver basic services in times of emergency, as recently shown by the wonderful people of North Carolina, been treated so badly. And other states who are still suffering from a hurricane that took place many months ago. Or more recently, Los Angeles, where we are watching fires still tragically burn from weeks ago without even a token of defense. They're raging through the houses and communities, even affecting some of the wealthiest and most powerful individuals in our country, some of whom are sitting here right now. They don't have a home any longer. That's interesting. But we can't let this happen. Everyone is unable to do anything about it. That's going to change. We have a public health system that does not deliver in times of disaster, yet more money is spent on it than any country anywhere in the world. And we have an education system that teaches our children to be ashamed of themselves in many cases, to hate our country despite the love that we try so desperately to provide to them. All of this will change starting today, and it will change very quickly. My recent election is a mandate to completely and totally reverse a horrible betrayal and all of these many betrayals that have taken place, and to give the people back their faith, their wealth, their democracy, and indeed their freedom. From this moment on, America's decline is over. Our liberties and our nation's glorious destiny will no longer be denied, and we will immediately restore the integrity, competency, and loyalty of America's government. Over the past 8 years, I have been tested and challenged more than any president in our 250-year history, and I've learned a lot along the way. The journey to reclaim our republic has not been an easy one, that I can tell you. Those who wish to stop our cause have tried to take my freedom and indeed to take my life. Just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin's bullet ripped through my ear. But I felt then, and believe even more so now, that my life was saved for a reason. I was saved by God to make America great again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. That is why each day under our administration of American patriots, we will be working to meet every crisis with dignity and power and strength. We will move with purpose and speed to bring back hope, prosperity, safety, and peace for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is Liberation Day. It is my hope that our recent presidential election will be remembered as the greatest and most consequential election in the history of our country. As our victory showed, the entire nation is rapidly unifying behind our agenda with dramatic increases in support from virtually every element of our society, young and old, men and women, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, urban, suburban, rural, and very importantly, we had a powerful win in all 7 swing states, and the popular vote, we won by millions of people. To the Black and Hispanic communities, I want to thank you for the tremendous outpouring of love and trust that you have shown me with your vote. We set records, and I will not forget it. I've heard your voices in the campaign, and I look forward to working with you in the years to come. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and his honor, this will be a great honor, but in his honor, we will strive together to make his dream a reality. We will make his dream come true. Thank you. Thank you.
Which dream?
National unity is now returning to America, and confidence and pride is soaring like never before. In everything we do, my administration will be inspired by a strong pursuit of excellence and unrelenting success. We will not forget our country. We will not forget our Constitution, and we will not forget our God. Can't do that. Today, I will sign a series of historic executive orders. With these actions, we will begin the complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense. It's all about common sense. First, I will declare a national emergency at our southern border. All illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came. We will reinstate my Remain in Mexico policy. I will end the practice of catch and release. And I will send troops to the southern border to repel the disastrous invasion of our country. Under the orders I signed today, we will also be designating the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations.
Repel was definitely an interesting word for him to use, everyone. Repel.
And by invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, I will direct our government to use the full and immense power of federal and state law enforcement to eliminate the presence of all foreign gangs and criminal networks, bringing devastating crime to U.S. soil, including our cities and inner cities. As Commander-in-Chief, I have no higher responsibility than to defend our country from threats and invasions, and that is exactly what I am going to do. We will do it at a level that nobody's ever seen before. Next, I will direct all members of my cabinet to marshal the vast powers at their disposal to defeat what was record inflation and rapidly bring down costs and prices. The inflation crisis was caused by massive overspending and escalating energy prices, and that is why today I will also declare a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill. America will be a manufacturing nation once again, and we have something that no other manufacturing nation will ever have, the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we are going to use it. We will bring prices down, fill our strategic reserves up again, right to the top, and export American energy all over the world. We will be a rich nation again, and it is that liquid gold under our feet that will help to do it. With my actions today, we will end the Green New Deal and we will revoke the electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto industry and keeping my sacred pledge to our great American auto workers. In other words, you'll be able to buy the car of your choice. We will build automobiles in America again at a rate that nobody could have dreamt possible just a few years ago. And thank you to the auto workers of our nation for your inspiring vote of confidence. We did tremendously with their vote. I will immediately begin the overhaul of our trade system to protect American workers and families. Instead of taxing our citizens to enrich other countries, we will tariff and tax foreign countries to enrich our citizens. For this purpose, we are establishing the External Revenue Service to collect all tariffs, duties, and revenues. It will be massive amounts of money pouring into our treasury, coming from foreign sources. The American dream will soon be back and thriving like never before to restore competence and effectiveness to our federal government. My administration will establish the brand new Department of Government Efficiency. After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America. Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents, something I know something about. We will not allow that to happen. It will not happen again. Under my leadership, we will restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law. And we are going to bring law and order back to our cities. This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. This week, I will reinstate any service members who were unjustly expelled from our military for objecting to the COVID vaccine mandate with full back pay. And I will sign an order to stop our warriors from being subjected to radical political theories and social experiments while on duty. It's going to end immediately. Our armed forces will be freed to focus on their sole mission, defeating America's enemies. Like in 2017, we will again build the strongest military the world has ever seen. We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into. My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier. I'm pleased to say that as of yesterday, one day before I assumed office, the hostages in the Middle East are coming back home to their families. Thank you. America will reclaim its rightful place as the greatest, most powerful, most respected nation on earth, inspiring the awe and admiration of the entire world. A short time from now, we are going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, and we will restore the name. of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley, where it should be and where it belongs. President McKinley made our country very rich through tariffs and through talent. He was a natural businessman and gave Teddy Roosevelt the money for many of the great things he did, including the Panama Canal, which has foolishly been given to the country of Panama after the United States. The United States, I mean, think of this, spent more money than ever spent on a project before and lost 38,000 lives in the building of the Panama Canal. We have been treated very badly from this foolish gift that should have never been made, and Panama's promise to us has been broken. The purpose of our deal and the spirit of our treaty has been totally violated. American ships are being severely overcharged and not treated fairly in any way, shape, or form, and that includes the United States Navy. And above all, China is operating the Panama Canal, and we didn't give it to China, we gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back. Above all, my message to Americans today is that it is time for us to once again act with courage, vigor, and the vitality of history's greatest civilization. So as we liberate our nation, we will lead it to new heights of victory and success. We will not be deterred. Together, we will end the chronic disease epidemic and keep our children safe, healthy, and disease-free. The United States will once again consider itself a growing nation, one that increases our wealth, expands our territory, builds our cities, raises our expectations, and carries our flag into new and beautiful horizons. And we will pursue our manifest destiny into the stars, launching American astronauts to plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars. Ambition is the lifeblood of a great nation. And right now, our nation is more ambitious than any other. There's no nation like our nation. Americans are explorers, builders, innovators, entrepreneurs, and pioneers. The spirit of the frontier is written into our hearts. The call of the next great adventure resounds from within our souls. Our American ancestors turned a small group of colonies on the edge of a vast continent into a mighty republic of the most extraordinary citizens on earth. No one comes close. Americans pushed thousands of miles through a rugged land of untamed wilderness. They crossed deserts, scaled mountains, braved untold dangers, won the Wild West, ended slavery, rescued millions from tyranny, lifted billions from poverty, harnessed electricity, split the atom, launched mankind into the heavens, and put the universe of human knowledge into the palm of the human hand. If we work together, there is nothing we cannot do and no dream we cannot achieve. Many people thought it was impossible for me to stage such a historic political comeback. But as you see today, here I am. The American people have spoken. I stand before you now as proof that you should never believe that something is impossible to do. In America, the impossible is what we do best. From New York to Los Angeles, from Philadelphia to Phoenix, from Chicago to Miami, from Houston to right here in Washington, D.C., our country was forged and built by the generations of patriots who gave everything they had for our rights and for our freedom. They were farmers and soldiers, cowboys and factory workers, steel workers and coal miners, police officers and pioneers who pushed onward, marched forward, and let no obstacle defeat their spirit or their pride. Together, they laid down the railroads, raised up the skyscrapers, built great highways, won 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism, and triumphed over every single challenge that they faced. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. With your help, we will restore America's promise, and we will rebuild the nation that we love, and we love it so much. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. So to every parent who dreams for their child, and every child who dreams for their future, I am with you, I will fight for you, and I will win for you. We're going to win like never before. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. In recent years, our nation has suffered greatly, but we are going to bring it back and make it great again, greater than ever before. We will be a nation like no other, full of compassion, courage, and exceptionalism. Our power will stop all wars and bring a new spirit of unity to a world that has been angry, violent, and totally unpredictable. America will be respected again and admired again, including by people of religion, faith, and goodwill. We will be prosperous. We will be proud. We will be strong, and we will win like never before. We will not be conquered. We will not be intimidated. We will not be broken, and we will not fail. From this day on, the United States of America will be a free, sovereign, and independent nation. We will stand bravely. We will live proudly. We will dream boldly, and nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours, and our golden age has just begun. Thank you. God bless America. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That was a lot. I was taking notes to those of you who saw me kind of look away. It's because I was taking some notes as he was speaking. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right, Logan, I'm about to add you back to the stage. DB on standby. Listen, you know, one thing about me, right, is the way I always think about content, not for the moment, but where it can go, right? So in my mind, I'm like, okay, there may be like 20 something people watching, right? But you just never know which piece is going to go. And you know how I told you Soulja Boy, that Soulja Boy clip last night gave this speech was coded. This speech was coded. All right. I feel confident in saying that as a journalist. This was a very coded speech.
Absolutely.
What was it was a coded speech. Oh my God. So hold up. Is Carrie about to perform, or did she already perform?
She's about to.
She's about to. Okay, let's turn the music up real time. Let me Oh, maybe she already did. Oh, okay. Let me see how the voice track sound.
Shining sea.
All right. And I know, Pam, I hear you. Golf of America. Shout out to my sorority sister, Pam. What's up, big sis? I think that Darren and Jake left some, interesting comments that we're going to explore.
You got thoughts?
Just talk. Let me wrap my mind around what was said.
Yeah. So I mean, you said it right. Like, there's a ton of stuff there that's absolutely coded, right? Like, I mean, a lot of stuff is contradictory too. I mean, you hear about how he's going to make America prosper, make America rich. We're going to make so many cars. Well, who's going to be able to afford them? Like, the guy that he just nominated for Secretary of Treasury already said that he thinks there is no reason that people should be making over $7.75 an hour. Like, at some point, people are going to be needing to make more money, and they have no interest in that unless it's their own pockets. I mean, I was very concerned to hear something like, we're going to expand America's territory. Like, imperialism and colonialism is so 1600s. Like, we don't need to be doing that stuff anymore. We need to get that out of our mind. And they're not. I think in some ways, him even talking like that is absolutely an attempt to normalize what Russia is doing in Ukraine, what Israel is trying to do in Gaza and the West Bank. Like, if we can normalize this stuff and just make it, hey, we can take land if we want, how can we hold those other countries accountable, right? Like, it is free game to kill who you want, decide you have to be a part of our nation, a part of our religion, or get out. And, that's some of the codes that we're seeing there. I mean, it goes right down to the fact he called it out. There's going to be two genders in America. There is a gender war. I mentioned it in our chat. It's one of the things living here in Utah. I see it directly. There's a ton of different laws being put in place all about gender, anti-trans bills, anti-LGBT bills. And you sit there and you look at it and you compare it to what we heard, I think just 2 weeks ago on Capitol Hill. They talked to the NCAA commissioner or president of the NCAA, and he said there are over 510,000 athletes in the NCAA across all divisions. Less than 10 are trans. And we have our lawmakers talking about how this is something that we need to address. We got to stop ruining competitivism in sports. Like, it doesn't exist. They are making us look over here so that they can line their pockets over here. They are drawing attention to things, trying to get us in a stir about so many things that do not exist. And a lot of people are falling for it. I mean, he does a good job at the snake oil salesman. Some of the stuff sounds compelling. And when you actually pay attention to the history behind it, to the ideas behind it, to who helped him come up with those ideas, it is a lot of stuff that is going to separate America more than ever. I mean, he campaigned on lowering grocery prices. Gulf of America is not going to lower grocery prices. Deporting a majority of our farm workers is not going to lower grocery prices. He has a lot of ideas that is only going to cause more chaos and create more haves and have-nots, and that's not what we need to move forward. That's not the type of thing that we celebrate on MLK Day. It's the exact opposite. So for him to talk about how he's going to make Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream a reality. It's not. He's not manifesting that dream. He is sort of making us all live our nightmare in real time.
You know, it's interesting because when he touched on MLK, which, by the way, if there are any white people watching, you know, and I'm not talking about Logan, although he is a white person that is also watching and participating, right? It's very interesting to me that it's like Martin Luther King has became like the safe haven for white people to quote, right? But depending on which works of MLK Jr.'s you quote, I automatically know where you're at. Because, you know, how Martin Luther King started and where he ended before he was assassinated. Before he was assassinated. One more time. Before he was assassinated was completely different. You know, Martin had a dream. He did. Then he realized he started having nightmares about the dream that he had and started having another dream. Oh, don't get me started today. You know what? No, let's get started.
There's a lot of people who like to take MLK, not to interrupt you, you know, not to be a white guy trying to, you know, jump in front of a black woman today. But a lot of people take the idea of the I have a dream speech and people not seeing color as like, oh, you know, we don't need to look at that stuff, as opposed to like, absolutely not. Being colorblind is not the answer right now. You need to see people's color and see how they're mistreated, see how you have opportunities that they may not. You know, people want to, and that's part of the let's remove DEI from everything, right? Like, we need to be recognizing the differences that people experience in their lives, and they're trying to remove that even from being a possibility to consider. Just had to say that. Sorry.
You know, and I also think that it's very interesting, you know, when before MLK was assassinated, you know, he was fighting for like equal pay, right? He had completely changed his ideology. And so when people just want to bring up his dream changed too. So when Trump said dream, I said, well, which dream? Well, which dream? Because where he began and where he ended before he was ended, all right, were two totally different things. So I thought that was interesting. I also thought that it was interesting how he talks about how much money we're giving to other countries. And let me tell y'all something, because I see that a lot of people really don't understand this, right? We have a budget, a set budget that is designated for foreign affairs, period. That money does not operate, like come to us. Now, what happens is we use that money, right, to protect us. For example, there is a reason why we give all of this money to Ukraine, right? There is a reason why we're giving money to Israel. I know that's a tough subject right now, but there is a reason why we give money, right? It's because of the placement. We never want to have a war on our soil. That is like America functions off of like this this point that we do not have a war on our soil. We will fight to the death somewhere else, but you will not bring that shit over here, right? And I thought it was interesting, Logan, that he brought up William McKinley. Now, for those of you who don't know, William McKinley is the 25th president of the United States, right? And you know, I was kind of looking because he has an interesting pass, excuse me. And I was doing some research, and it's funny what he chose to bring up McKinley about, because according to my brief research, McKinley said, we want no wars of conquest. We must avoid the temptation of territorial aggression. Okay. War should never be entered upon until every agency of peace has failed. Peace is preferable to war in almost every contingency. That's McKinley. Now, McKinley also, like many presidents and white men at his time, had an interesting relationship with Black people back then. So he definitely has some like racial tolerance, but he remained silent when white supremacists were killing Black people and really did their best to oust all of the Black elected officials. He also swore in the only Black congressman from 1897 to 1901. Right. So a very complex man. I don't know deep dives on him, but I'm pretty sure there is a historian out there that will educate me later and tell me to bring up, hey, actually, this man did this very awful things. I don't put that past him. Right. But if Trump is quoting him, but from what I could see, McKinley was against war, which is one of the things, like you said, Pamela, earlier. Right. What is it going to be like the Gulf of America? You know,
this is where you're too smart for your own good, though, LaPortia. It has nothing to do with who McKinley is. It has to do everything with the fact that Barack Obama changed Mount McKinley to Denali, which is what the indigenous people named it. And he's just trying to undo Barack Obama's legacy. He's trying to undo Joe Biden's legacy. He in particular, Barack Obama, right? I mean, we've seen this since the birther conspiracy. Like, he isn't looking at who this guy was and what he said by any means. He's looking at Obama did this, get it out of here. You know, he did it with Bears Ears and Escalante, the two different monuments, in the desert Southwest here in America that are tribal lands. Like, no, you can't have that stuff because I want to drill for oil on it and get the hell out of the way while I do it.
You know, it's so interesting. I'm happy you brought that up because that's part of that coded language, Logan. You know, that codedness of we're changing McKinley back, right? Just trying to undo, I don't even want to call it just progress, right? Undoing so many things. And you're like, you ask yourself why, but then you remember because of the insecurity, to me, of white men in this country right now. And I cannot lie, because of the insecurity of white men in this country right now. D, I'm about to bring you forward so you can share some of your notes on this, because I took a lot of notes.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't even know where to start with. Logan pretty much, I mean, he summed it up. Like, you can't do A, say B, and expect to still get the C. It just doesn't work that way. Like, a lot of what he said contradicts himself. Like, if we're gonna talk things like children, for instance, education, making sure that our education system is the best, and we're excellent. And what he used a specific word, and I was just kind of like, but we want to cut funding. We want to get rid of the Department of Education. Like, this is probably going to be something that he executive orders over the next 24 hours. These are things he's focused on. How are we going to become a better nation if we're getting rid of the things that literally have pushed us towards progress? At this point, we're back in the 60s. The only thing that he's probably not going to snatch is segregation. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he tried that. But I also sit here, like, we talk about DEI initiatives. He is a DEI hire. So what are we doing here?
Explain that.
Okay, so DEI hires, from a MAGA standpoint, they don't know what they're doing. They're only in the position because somebody put them there. They don't have the credentials. They don't have the educational backing. Basically, him. No political.
It is so funny, right? Because that is not what DEI is at all.
At all. It's not.
That is not what DEI is at all. As a matter of fact, I would love to read a comment from Darren if he's watching, because he is a DEI expert. Theo as well, if he's watching, because I don't want to go off on a tangent here. I do want to go down the list of some of the other things he said that I caught. And this is me listening with my journalist ears, right? He said it will change very quickly. That is very interesting words to use. And this is a point where I have to also hold the Democrats accountable, right? as an independent, I really look at both parties, and I believe in voting in the best interest of myself and my people, right? My people being racially, gender, thought, right? Like other people who think like me. Generally, people who think in a progressive fashion, people who understand that, like, hey, this world only works if we all understand that it's an ecosystem, right? He also said, I'm going to, America's decline is over. I thought that was interesting, and that's something that I'm going to hold him to.
He's just acknowledging that he's rock bottom. That's all.
Right. I think that's what that is.
And
he said reversing betrayals. That was something that stood out to me.
That's that wording. This is coded language. I need y'all to hear me. This is coded. This is racially coded. This is gender coded. This is ideology. Like just all of the ideology. It is coded. Okay, coded. He said, hold up, because I wrote this part down. He said, troops to the southern. No. He says something was interesting. And I thought he said something like, that's interesting. As he was speaking on the relationship, he grouped Black and Hispanic. He grouped. So I don't know if anyone else caught that, but that's what we call grouping. Right. So for all of my Dominican no Black, all of my Dominican no Black people out there, guess what? That's not how he just saw that. Because he said, and I thought that was very specific to all of my Dominican no Black people. Yeah, I said it because y'all be on bullshit. It was just a different stop. It was literally just a different stop because you're Black.
You just got off before everybody else.
You literally are Black. You get over it. I want y'all to know that he grouped us together, which tells me everything. If you're giving a speech and addressing it to the nation, he took time to address other people. But when it came to Black and Hispanics, he grouped us together. Right. He also made it clear, of course, the border. He is coming for the border. He said he's sending troops down to the border. We're going to see how that all plays out. I think that we will have a larger discussion at another time about the role the immigrants play in this country and how they are a part of the ecosystem. And I understand that when you are hungry and you are looking for a job, trust me, I get it. Okay. I get it more than y'all know. I completely understand that when you are going through all of that, you're like, man, they're taking our jobs, but were you going to do that work for $7 an hour? And if you weren't, then you have to understand the role immigrants play in the community at large. And most people don't understand that, but it's okay. We'll have some episodes on that later because I do understand that is difficult for a lot of people to comprehend. And I'm not calling you stupid when I say that. I'm just saying that I understand that it's difficult for a lot of people to comprehend, right? And, in the words of my uncle, Charlemagne always says the language of politics is dead. And I truly believe in that. If it's one thing that Trump has really shown us and taught us is that this is a game of attention. This is a game of attention nowadays. The language of politics is dead. All credit to Charlemagne for that statement. I totally believe that. This is a game of attention. That's what I say, right? 100% a game of attention. One thing that Trump did really well is he understands and lives into there is no such thing as bad press. Right. And he took that all the way to the bank. And this is why I told people during the election season, and this is why I want to do more lives when it comes to this stuff, that there are some people who are like, I find that a lot of Democrats are like this, well, I just don't want any attention right now. Let me tell you something. You better stop being a little bitch. Okay. The game has changed. Wake up. The game has changed. I'm sorry if you got your kids watching, the game has changed. Wake up.
Well, Joe Biden sort of mentioned that in his last interview, sort of said like, man, I was too worried about inputting policies and not worried enough about the politics, right? Like Donald Trump is making people think he's the hero by saving TikTok recently. even though he's the one who initiated the original ban. And
You
he's doing
don't
the same thing. He wants to do the same thing with the border now by saying we're going to go down there and fix it, when he's the one who, hijacked the bill that would have at least addressed it months earlier because he wanted to campaign on it. It's a totally different game now. And the problem is, it's a game to them.
Yeah.
And he also said he looks forward to working with us. I thought that was interesting. He said, bring back free speech. Now, let me tell y'all something. This is what we call, and Trump said this himself, right? What did he describe it in that interview with Andrew Schultz, where he kind of goes around, he just talks about a lot of different things at once. And as someone who talks about a lot of different things at once, I can keep up, right? I get how everybody else gets lost, but I can tell 5 stories in one story. All right. So Trump, I pick up on everything that he's saying. He said he wants to bring back free speech. That is what we call a distraction, because it implies that free speech is left. Now, I don't know if anybody else was looking at the Constitution lately and saw that they deleted free speech, but let me know if they have. I've been checking, and I ain't seen no stories about this, they got rid of free speech. And I understand that what this really goes into, this idea that of like the Twitter, the Elon Musk of the world, like or X, shall I say, really trying to highlight that they are censoring what we say. And that's a different conversation, right? But no, they were censoring the lack of facts that were out there, right? Because people will state things, like I said earlier during this broadcast, people will state things and it's not the truth. Like, just because you said it, just because I say the best color in the world is gold, does not make that a fact. Even though as SG Row, I do believe that the best color in the world is blue and gold. Okay. So
not a pink and green combo.
Oh, no. Oh, sorry.
Logan, okay, let me tell you something. No, it's okay. Remove. So we're gonna remove Logan because he's on my broadcast playing. He playing. Now, Logan, do you got your shit together now? Can I bring you back to the front? Oh,
Wicked.
My sorority sister said, "Boo!"
Wicked is the only pink and green we acknowledge.
Oh, we love Wicked. Okay, and we need.
I didn't know jokes weren't allowed. I thought, what happened to free speech?
Yeah.
Not on that. We don't do free speech. Ain't free. Let me tell you something. Free speech ain't free.
Also, you're not the government, so I don't have protections from you. It's only
period. Also, our military has always been the strongest. So when he tried to make it seem as though like make our military strong again, let me tell you something. Our military has always been strong, right? We have the largest military in the world. This is a fact. We can't talk this much, shit as a nation if we don't have the largest military. So we 100% have the largest military. We have the most powerful military in the world. This is a fact. If you look at graphs, you will see all of the other countries, their militaries are like this, and then the U.S. is like all the way out here. You can't even see it on the screen, right? So there's just so much here between. There will only officially be 2 genders. Between everything will be merit-based. That's a setup. Everybody who works super, super hard in DEI know that in saying that everything will be merit-based, you're also
who determines the merit? That's the problem.
And not just that, but you're making the assumption that the people, the diverse communities that were hired are not of merit. It took me some time to find it in there. It took me some time to find it. I was trying to find the right words. And it's like, that's not true. Just because I got into the University of Georgia and maybe I did fulfill this quote unquote black quota, but if there was a black quota, it's because it needed to be. Did you ever think about that? Did you ever?
There's a reason.
Did you ever think about that?
There's a reason that these programs exist. These programs aren't just because Black people need a hand up. No, we need, and I say Black people because that's automatically where I go, but we're talking any marginalized community that has access to programs in which they can excel themselves. These are programs that were put in place because we were overlooked. We've been overlooked, and we've been sidestepped for things that we shouldn't be. So
Yeah, I think that Darren really just said it best right here. DEI is merit-based. It's literally focused on removing bias to open up space for merit-based access. And that is true, right? It's like I went to a high school. We didn't have a row team. You know what I mean? We didn't have a swim team. We didn't have all of these other things, right? And so these other schools who have access to so many after-school programs, that have access to like tons and tons of people to interact with in their community. Everyone doesn't have that, right? And that's why we have to make the playing field as even as we can, because it's still not even. Anybody who works in DEI right now will tell you that it's still not even.
Not
right?
just in DEI.
That's why the programs exist.
In most corporate entities, most corporations, most tech companies, it's not there. Like they don't, for instance, Meta pulled everything, which we knew was going to happen regardless. Like we knew that. But what happens when these workers who are still there, still employed, no longer have things like ERG groups or no longer have, HR resources that they can go to report, things that are happening in the workplace based on their color, their gender, their sexuality. Like these things matter in the safety of people going to work, the thing that they have to do to live. And that's where the issue comes. Like pulling these programs is more detrimental than anything, because let's be clear, your workforce, most of your workforce is probably people of color and or women until you get to a certain level.
I saw something that said that white women would be impacted the most by the DEI pulls. I'm very interested to see the data behind that. I think that we will all be impacted. I mean, we can see that now. We know for sure in the media industry, we can see that right now. We see a lot of diverse companies. They're really struggling. They're struggling to get funding. They're struggling to really, truly succeed in this current landscape. And I think that when you hold people back, I believe in this, and this is not a political statement that I'm about to say. I think that when you hold people back, you are also holding yourself back. Period. Because you have to allow everyone to fulfill the role they're supposed to fulfill in society. And if you try to hold people back, all you end up doing is holding the country back. So to me, to not be for DEI is it's one of the most un-American things you can be, right? And to say, well, it's just because I believe everyone deserves a fair shot. Well, then you should be for DEI. Right. So really what you're really saying is I don't like that there's more competition out there in the landscape. And I want that competition to be removed. And I want to be able to live in my privilege and move things along.
But in order to do that, we would have to have a bigger discussion on why you feel this way. Like, what is it about, for instance, me? If I come into something and maybe I am making more than you, it's not because I was a DEI hire. It's probably because I have the qualifications. So why is it that your automatic thought process is, oh, you were just hired because you were Black or because you're a minority and you're in this program X, Y, and Z?
What did we put?
right?
What did we put on the fact that Michelle didn't attend? What do y'all think about that?
Why should she have to? Melania didn't attend 4 years ago. Trump didn't attend 4 years ago. So I'm confused on why the person who wasn't even the president is getting all this backlash.
Have any of you ever gone back to an old apartment to see who's moving in 8 years later? I never check on who's moving into where I've lived before. What's the matter?
I think it's interesting. I'm not mad at Michelle for not going. I think that if you're going to run around saying this rhetoric and saying things like, oh my gosh, Trump is the end of democracy, Trump is the end of this, then you have to live into it. And I think that, again, so many Democrats are pushovers. You can just walk right over them. You know what I mean? And I'm happy that Michelle Obama took a stance and it's like, listen, I really don't mess with him. And quite honestly, y'all, my real theory, I think that the reason Michelle isn't going is because Michelle has given a lot of her life to this. She has given a lot of her life to the political landscape. And she just lost her mother. And I think a lot of people forget that. The only reason she came out of her grieving period, which as I shared with you all earlier, I lost someone extremely dear to me, and it took me out for 2 years. I'm just now trying to get back into the swing of things. You know, I think that she was like, all right, I have to help, VP Harris. And then she had to kind of go to stop after stop after stop after stop. But in reality, I really think that she is like, I lost my mother. We all have seen her mother with her forever. And I think that was a big loss for her. So I really don't think that it was as political, but I think that it was not only that. I think that she is like, I'm also tired. I really don't like this man. I understand that my man is the president, but I'm not. And I don't want to mess with him. So I'm not going to go. Right. And I felt the same way when Trump stood on business. It was like, I'm not showing up. I know everyone will say, well, yeah, you should still, but you should still. It's just the right thing to do. Listen, screw that. Screw that. If I don't mess with you like that, I don't want to go. I almost didn't go to a party myself, right? The other day, because I felt as though I was like, I don't even know if we mess with each other. Are we friends? Oh, I don't like gray area things. So to me, I'm not mad at Trump when he didn't show up. I'm not mad at Michelle for not showing up. I'm dang sure not mad at Melania. Poor Melania. Let me tell you something. Melania wants to get away so bad. She's
Is
like,
that why she's dressed like Carmen Sandiego today?
It's giving someone help.
Melania wants to get away so bad. They will not. Melania is like, oh, this man, I told him if he run again, she done missed his kisses. She done wiped his hand. She said, I signed up. I did not sign up for this. Right. And I
time
I
she pulled away from that man,
because she did steal Michelle Obama's speech that one time. So, ain't no poor Melania. But anywho, I just think it's very interesting the way all of this is shaking out. And I don't blame Michelle for not going. I think that if you're going to tell me that you really don't like someone and you don't mess with them, then we'll show it. And if Trump showed it, I don't know why they are just having a fit about Michelle Obama not being there. Fun fact, everyone, y'all do know that Michelle Obama was voted the most likable woman in America like multiple times, right? So I think that the reason that people are showing out is because everyone admires Michelle Obama. Well, admire her when she stands on business. She has her own life, she is like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Trump said horrible things about her during the campaign trail. Right. I do think that she is one of the leaders of the Democratic Party, which is interesting to say because she's never even held a political office. Right. And yet and still black women, shout out to Zachary Campbell, black women. All right. Always finding a way to lead, even without a title, which is like why I said at the beginning, I wanted to shout out the black women that stood beside Martin Luther King, because a lot of the times all I hear is, I have a dream, I have a dream, I have a dream, I have a dream. Go to sleep. Like, I have a dream. Like if that's the only thing you know about MLK, let me be the first to tell you, you don't know a lot. And quite frankly, you really don't know shit. If that's all you know is I have a dream, I implore you, I beg of you in high heels, to go read his last speech before he was assassinated. Not died, assassinated. There's a reason why they gave him this day. But anyway, everyone, as we close out here, please share your final thoughts.
Hey, shout out real quick for pointing out like her personal stuff, because I think it's real easy for everyone to do what Trump wants and make it about Trump. So, oh, she doesn't like Trump. Oh, that's rude to Trump to not show up, blah, 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 blah. She also wasn't at Jimmy Carter's funeral, right? So like, it's not just Trump stuff. There could easily be things going on with her that we don't know about. Give her her space, give her her personal access to herself, and mind your own business. And if this is a political statement, good for her.
I think we just like let people be. Like she doesn't she hasn't held any type of office. Like I think we're putting, and I'm okay with putting her on a pedestal, but at the same time, we have to respect that she's a person. So whether this is political or whether this is personal, like she has every right to function and move how she wants to. I don't have to answer to anybody, to be quite honest.
And she didn't. And I love that she didn't give a reason for not showing up. Right? I mean,
I
correct me if I'm wrong.
shouldn't have to explain why I'm not showing up nowhere.
Yeah, and it's so interesting to me how so many Black women truly lead the party and they pretend to not see. But then if you don't show up, they'll see. And you know what? That statement is true even for other people in our lives. There are people who will pretend to not see our work, pretend to not see our love, pretend to not see what we bring to the table. But if you don't show up, they'll be the first one to say, oh, well, LaPortia didn't come to my thing. I don't think she cares about me. Darren, Ava, if you're in the comments, I'm not being shady, darling, because, you know, it's nothing but sunlight over here. But, you know, if you don't show up, then everyone has anything to say, you know. And I see Pamela just said, if Trump can blabber with no basis as the leader of the free world, the rest of us can have a life too. And it's so interesting when we say the leader of the free world. I think that we should really gear up, know that I'm going to do my part to be doing really great work, know that I am 100%, you know, going to be delivering content this year, and you're going to see a lot of these same faces. I really want to take the time to like break these things down. And Lamont, I heard Lamont say, period. Yeah, they always notice you. They notice when you ain't there, but they try to discount you, you know, when you're standing there. Isn't that full circle with this whole DEI thing, y'all? They notice when she ain't there, but they trying to take away everything that allowed her to get there. You know what I mean? The systems that had to be put in place to make it more fair so that you could see a Michelle Obama, so that you could see a Barack Obama. And that's quite a thing. But listen, thank you so much to everyone that joined. We have been going for 2 hours and 23 minutes, just like we expected. I just want to say, first of all, let me give a shout out to Kiana. Kiana, I don't know if you're still sitting there being crazy. Can I bring you to the front of the stage? Hold on. Let me bring you to the front. I'm bringing you to the front of the stage. She does not want to be brought to the front of the stage. Hey. Shout out to Kiana. Kiana was delivering the shade behind the scenes. She was producing from her bedroom. She was keeping things afloat, moving, learning the equipment. Shout out to my longtime producer, one of my best friends. Thank you so much. One of my our sorority sisters, shall I say. So thank you for all that you did behind the scenes. You got anything you want to say, Kiana?
No, we've been on here too long.
You knew what it was.
Period. And then as far as I'm concerned, we're ending right on time because I said 1:30. Oh, Pamela shouted you out. Hold up. Well, we're gonna give it this month. She said IZS in the house. Period. No. You've been on here too long. Bye. Boom. Okay. Shout out to Logan. Logan, thank you so much. I feel like you always offer like such great insight. You know, and we've had a long-term friendship. You're one of my dearest friends. And I thank you because you remind me, and everybody needs somebody like this in their life. Like Logan reminds me that white people ain't bad. That all white people ain't bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Like he was like, hold on. Logan reminds me that all white people ain't bad, and more importantly, Logan reminds me that we're all human at the end of the day. But some people, you know, we got to hold the powerful accountable. So thank you so much, Logan. Of course, you know, me and you're gonna be doing a lot of stuff together. And then next we have D. D, thank you so much. You brought a lot of valuable insight. One of the greatest lesbians to ever do it. That's gonna be my new title now. That's my new title. To everyone over at on Instagram, I'm scrolling through the comments. I saw some people posting. Thank you to everyone that joined. Ava said, let them know, D, when you were doing one of your rants. What else do we have here? Sierra Nelson said, Jesus, take the wheel for real. Shout out to my auntie, Nikki. Shout out to Dope Diana. SRT Avo said after they just was helping us with the LA fires. That was something pertaining to the speech that happened. So shout out to everyone that joined and took the time to listen. We'll definitely be clicking some of these things up. Shout out to Darren, Lamont, Jake, Pam, all the people that interacted heavily, with everything that we were discussing today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I can't wait to do this again. This was my first live stream for Can't Bully Me, so I'm very excited to see what happens in the future. And always remember, they can't bully me, and they damn sure can't bully you. Peace out, everyone.